reproductive health. Next chapter, pre-synapse. So in the last class we studied about reproduction in human. Now we will study about reproductive health of human. The term reproductive health simply refers to healthy reproductive organs with normal functions. No, but according to WHO, reproductive health means totally well-being in all aspects of reproduction, that is physical, emotional, behavioral, and social. So, reproductive health means total well being in physical, emotional, social, and behavioral aspects in reproduction. Thus, reproductively healthy person have a physical and functionally normal reproductive organs and normal behavioral and emotional interactions among them in all sex related aspects. Now, the question arises, why is it significant to maintain reproductive health and what are the methods to achieve? So, why this reproductive health is very essential? So, this reproductive health problems and strategies, India was among one of the first countries in the world to initiate the program of family planning. It is initiated in 1951. Reproductive health in a society forms a crucial part of the general health improved programs covering wide reproduction related areas. Currently in an operation under the popular name Reproductive and Child Health Care Program. Now, family planning is called actually the Reproductive and Child Health Care Program. Health and education of young people and marriage, childbearing during more mature stages of life are important attributes to the reproductive health of society. So, what are the main areas where this reproductive health is due to overpopulation, early marriage, health of mothers, deformities, maternal mortality rate, sexually transmitted diseases, and carriers. These are the things where the reproductive health is going to work upon. Measures taken by the government. What are the measures taken by the government? First, thorough the through the help of audio, visual, and print media, government has tried to educate the all of the people, even family members, close relations are involved in the awareness. Then sex education was introduced in schools to provide awareness, proper information about reproductive organs, adolescence and related changes, safe and hygienic sexual practice, sexually transmitted diseases, AIDS, etc. will be used during educating. So that by various means, by advertisements, by print media, by visual audio media, by sex education, the Indian government has put its effort to give the education about reproductive health, safe sex, right, and sexually transmitted diseases, overpopulation, and how to the space between the birth. Many of the area, the Indian government has provided assistance. One of the such it includes actually amniocentesis. It is a technique used to find out chromosomal abnormalities in a developing embryo by using amniotic fluid. So when the amniotic fluid will be existing around the fetus in the inside the womb, like in a placenta, inside the placenta, the whole of amniotic fluid is in a close contact with the baby. Some of the somatic cells of the baby will be existing in the amniotic fluid. By directly puncturing into the amnion, this amniotic fluid will be collected. Along with the amniotic fluid, the baby somatic cells will be available. So these somatic cells will be stained and observed under the microscope. It has been actually used to study the chromosomal abnormality for purpose it has been developed, but it has been misused to check a fetal sex. Determination of based on the chromosomal pattern, we know that this bar body formation, the amniotic fluid surrounding the developing embryo is used. This has been misused, so now it has been stopped in India. Amniocentesis has been stopped. Population explosion and birth control are the major issues of a reproductive health. First is improved quality of life of people, increased health facilities, and better living conditions. Had an explosive impact on the explosion. Okay, this in the last century and all around development in various fields significantly, where it has increased the population, world population, which was around 2000 million or 2 billion in 1900, it has increased to 6 billion by 2000. And this increase is mainly due to decreased maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate. Development in a medical field is one of the main cause for the what we call as the increase in population. Steps to overcome overpopulation. First one is using various contraceptive methods. Second one is educating people about the demerits of large family. Third one is increasing the marriageable age of female and male. So that is 18 in case of female, and in case of male it is 21. Fourth one, providing initiative to parents, having no initiative to educate the parents to have one or two child and keep space between the child, the safe sex education. All these are the what steps to overcome over explosion of the population. Now, contraceptive methods is the first step, one of the steps to overcome the population explosion. So before going to the population explosion, one more thing is that the population growth rate according to 2011 it is almost 1.7 to 2%. That is 20 birth in a thousand per year. What we're going to see, this is a population rate at which the India is growing. What are the consequences? We're going to see the food, shelter, clothing. In spite of significant progress made in those areas, therefore the government was supposed to take up serious measure to check this population growth rate. Then government has come out with many ideas like Hum Do, Hamara Do. Many couples, mostly the young urban working ones, have been adopted and one child norm, statutory rising marriageable age in female 8 and male 21. Many of the steps to be taken forward. Steps has been taken forward by the government of India. Now, so contraceptive method is one of the effective method to avoid the unwanted pregnancy. These are all used to prevent unwanted pregnancy and modifying the menstrual cycle. What are the contraceptive? First, what we will see, what are the characters of an ideal contraceptive? What kind of contraceptive is called as an ideal contraceptive? First one is it must be user friendly. First of all, even educated and uneducated, all of these people must be capable of using this. That's what we call it as user friendly. Second one, easily available. It must be economical and it must be easily available to all the grades of peoples. And third one, it must be effective in preventing. No, prevention must be like unwanted pregnancy must be prevented by it, then only we can call it as a ideal contraceptive. Reversible, this is the most important character, where a contraceptive should be give chance to the one who is using, like whenever he wants, like can stop preventing pregnancy, can prevent pregnancy, and whenever he wants he can remove that contraceptive and can have a childs. Next, contraceptive character, ideal character is no side effects. The many of the contraceptive process have one or the other side effects. The number of side effects must be least in case of the contraceptives. Sixth one is no way interference with the sexual desire. It should not directly affect the sexual desire of the person who is using it. Contraceptive methods could be divided into following categories. All of the contraceptive methods. So, as I said, what is contraceptive? Avoiding unwanted pregnancy. So, all of the contraceptive methods has been divided into following types: natural or traditional methods. Second is barrier method. Third one is intrauterine devices. Fourth one is oral contraceptive. E is injectables. F is implants. G is surgical method. First one is natural methods. First works on the principle of avoiding chance of ovum and sperm meeting. The natural method is avoiding meeting of the sperm and ovum. It includes following. First one is periodic abstinence. The couples avoid coitus from day 10 to day 17. So this is a time period where there is a chance of release of mature ova ready for fertilization. If couple avoids the 2 days, that is around 3 days before and 3 days after the ovulation, that is on the 14th day, the mid of the menstrual cycle, we're going to see ovulation. So if a couple avoid this is what we call it as periodic abstinence, because during this period the chance of fertilization is very high. So avoiding coitus at this time is called as periodic abstinence. Next is withdrawal. The second method what we will see is withdrawal. Withdrawal or coitus interrupts. It's also called as withdrawal or coitus interrupts. In this method, what we will see is male partner withdraws penis from the vagina just before ejaculation to avoid insemination. The failure chance is more because, as I said, like the bulbourethral or Cowper's gland, which is released before to the ejaculation, may also contains the sperm cells. So the failure chance is more in case of withdrawal or coitus interruption. So what is withdrawal or coitus interruption? Male partner withdraws penis from the vagina just before ejaculation to avoid insemination. Lactational amenorrhea. This is a naturally developed in a female to give a space between the pregnancies. It's a nature itself has developed this technique. What this lactational amenorrhea? Absence of menstruation after parturition and due to intense milk feeding, no ovulation in this period, chance of fertilization is nil. Usually, this lactation period we're going to see the first 6 months after the parturition is called as safe period for having like no chance of having the kids during this first 6 months, but it also varies from individual to individual. So, this absence of menstruation after parturition due to intense milk feeding and no ovulation in this period, chance of fertilization is nil. In barrier methods, this is what we call as lactational amenorrhea. Now, artificial methods, various methods are used artificially. The first one is barrier methods. What is the barrier method? The main mechanism of prevention of ovum coming in contact to the sperm is prevented in this physically meeting of sperm and ovum is prevented in this method. That's what we call as barrier method. The barrier method includes the various types. The first one is called as condoms. Condoms can be used by male as well as the female. It is made up of rubber or a latex sheet used to cover penis or vagina and cervix of female. It also prevents STD. So this condoms are involved in dual function. They perform dual purpose. One, it prevents a fertilization and implantation, or as it just prevents fertilization, acts as a contraceptive, as well as condoms also helpful in prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. So this the condoms for male and condoms for female of both are available. They are usually made up of rubber or latex sheet. Second type of barriers what we're going to see is diaper guns, cervical caps and walls are the barriers made up of rubber that is inserted into the female reproductive tract during coitus. So these diaper gums, cervical caps, and walls are used mainly in the female. These are rubbers inserted into the female reproductive tract during coitus process. This will block the coming in contact of sperm with the egg cell. So all these barrier methods will be more effective if it is used with some spermicidal creams, jellies, foams are usually used along with these barriers to increase their contraceptive efficiency. What are the advantages of a barrier method? First of all, they are disposable, they can be self-inserted, they are reusable, prevents conception by blocking the entry of sperm to the cervix. So next artificial types of contraceptives include intrauterine devices. So as the name itself says, what are intrauterine devices? Inserted by doctor or trained nurses into the female uterus through vagina. IUCDs or intrauterine devices may be non-medicated in the sense they are not coated with any of the chemicals or hormones, nothing. Non-medicated one example is Lippel's loop and copper releasing IUDs. Copper releasing IUDs are capable of releasing copper ions. So these include copper T, copper 7, multidose 375. And the hormone releasing IUDs include progesterone LNP20. So what basically we're going to find is IUDs are going to increase. IUDs increase phagocytosis of sperm cells within the uterus, whereas the copper releasing IUDs suppress the sperm motility and in addition make the uterus unsuitable for implantation. And the cervix hostile to the sperm IUDs are ideal contraceptives for the females. So what we have is the hormone releasing IUDs make the uterus unsuitable for implantation, whereas copper releasing IUDs reduces the motility of the sperm cells, and common IUDs will be increasing phagocytosis of the sperm cells. It is ideal for female who wants to delay pregnancy and facing between two. Now, the next type of IUDs what we're going to see is oral pills. Oral pills are progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination used by female in the form of tablets. They inhibit ovulation and implantation as well as change the quality of cervical mucus to prevent or retard entry of sperms. So oral pills is a combination of steroid like progesterone and estrogen combination. They inhibit ovulation primarily. The primary action is and they will alter the cervical mucus to prevent the entry of sperm cells. Administration of progesterone or progesterone estrogen combination within the 72 hours of coitus is found to be very effective of emergency contraceptive. That's what we call as emergency contraceptives. The contraceptives are also in the form of injectables also available. These what we call as injectable contraceptives like Depo-Provera. The Depo-Provera is a progesterone derived injections, and as well as we have like Saheli, the non-steroidal Saheli, where it is developed by CDRI Lucknow. It is a non-steroidal and contains centrocomone, which is taken once in a week. The Saheli is a once in a week, whereas the remaining one, what we call as a Maladi, they are most commonly used oral contraceptive pills. This Maladi used combined contraceptive pills. They are taken daily without a break. So they are used from the pills have to be taken daily period of 21 days, starting preferably within the first 5 days of the menstrual cycle. After a gap of 7 days, it has to be repeated in the same pattern till the female desire to prevent conception. Saheli is a once in a week, where it is a non-steroidal, rich in centrocomone, and with the least side effective. Initially, intake twice a week, the doses for 3 months. It has a high contraceptive value with a very little side effects. Then next, what we have is the subcutaneous implants. That is a new contraception is subcutaneous implantation. That is under the skin. Synthetic progesterone are inserted by using matchstick-sized capsule containing steroid are inserted under the skin with inner arm above the elbow. The capsule slowly releases synthetic progesterone for about 5 years. It's very safe, convenient, and effective and long lasting. The woman has irregular period or period may be absent. Minor surgical procedures needed for insertion and removal. The subcutaneous is all these all are having the same mechanism of prevention, that is it will stop ovulation process, um, mucus formation in the cervix will block the entry of sperm cells and make the hostile for sperm. These are the common mode of action of all these oral pills. Now, the last type of method of contraception is surgical method. This method is also called sterilization. Why it's called as sterilization? Because it is less reversible. When a couple decide no more to have any kids, then they go for this method, which is the male and female, like it is used as a terminal method of contraception in male and female to prevent any more pregnancy. So whereas in male it is called as vasectomy. What is vasectomy? The cutting and ligation of vasa differentia. Cutting and ligation of the vasa differentia is called as vasectomy, uh, where it will block the entry of sperm into the semen. That person will commonly ejaculate, common erection, common ejaculation will be there. Semen will be without the sperm cell. If a person ejaculates semen without the sperm cell, the chance of fertilization will be completely reduced. Tubectomy is a surgical method in females in which the small portion of the fallopian tube is removed surgically. These techniques are highly effective, but their availability is very rare. Their reversibility is very poor. Sorry, their reversibility is very poor. Tubectomy is a surgical removal of female fallopian tube is surgically removed and ligated. Again, the chance of fertilization, releasing of ova conduction will be stopped in the female. Also, vasectomy, tubectomy surgical methods are also called as sterilization. 100% effectiveness in the what contraception, where what is the drawback? Primarily it's a least reversible, it's not reversible at all. Now, what are the side effects of contraceptive method? It's a very important, the selection of contraceptive method should be taken under the consultation of doctors. They have a ill effects like nausea, abdominal pain, breakthrough, bleeding, irregular menstrual bleeding, or even breast cancer. So these all are the contraceptive methods of prevention. Next one is medical termination of pregnancy. In short term, it is called as MTP. So induced or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term is called as MTP. Induced, it is also called as induced abortion. It has to be done by the trained doctor. It plays important role in decreasing population by aborting unwanted pregnancy. In India, medical termination of pregnancy is legalized in 1971 with some restrictions to prevent its misuse, such as indiscriminate and illegal female feticides. NTP is used to get rid of unwanted pregnancy due to unprotected intercourse or failure of contraceptives used during coitus or rapes. When a pregnancy continuation could be harmful, even fetal to mother or fetus, MTPs are used. MTPs are also used considered relatively safe during the first trimester or up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Second trimester MPTs are much and more riskier as the bone development density of bones increases if a fetus, and the chance of like danger to the mother will also increases. The safe period for the medical termination of pregnancy is 12 months. Now, the next concept here is sexually transmitted diseases. So, this is one of the serious consequences in the reproductive health. Sexually transmitted diseases, diseases or infections which are transmitted through sexual intercourse, collectively called sexually transmitted diseases, venereal diseases, or reproductive tract infections. Some common STDs are gonorrhea. So it is caused. So many of the sexually transmitted diseases are broadly categorized into viral, bacterial, protozoal, and fungal. Some common STDs are gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. Then syphilis, it is again a bacterial. Syphilis, it is caused by Treponema pallidum. And genital herpes. Genital herpes is caused by this. It's a viral where it has herpes simplex, what we call it as. Then chlamydiosis. Chlamydiosis is caused by Chlamydia trachomastis. Genital warts. Genital warts is the warts virus where it's going to human papilloma virus, what we call it as trichomonasis. This trichomonasis is caused by it's, it's a protozoal infection. This trichomonas. Trichomonosis vaginalis, what we call that. Trichomonosis vaginalis. Then in a viral infections, if we go through this viral infections, the first one what we can come hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a most infectious sexually transmitted disease. Hepatitis B is then followed by sharing of injection needles, surgical instruments with the infected persons, and AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Human immunodeficiency virus HIV is going to cause the AIDS. The except genital herpes, HIV, and hepatitis B completely curable. Remaining all are completely curable if detected earlier and treated properly. Timely detection and proper treatment of STDs are very important in a prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. Now, what we have is the what are the common symptoms? Common symptoms includes this minor in itching, fluid discharge, slight pain, swelling, etc. are the common symptoms in the genital region. Whereas the major symptoms, the broader symptoms, what we will see is include pelvic inflammatory diseases, abortion, stillbirth, ectopic pregnancies, infertility, or even cancer of the reproductive tract or the symptoms where we're going to see in STD. Infectious infections of a diseases, that is the transmission of a disease, can be prevented by following the simple rules such as avoiding sex with the unknown partners or multiple partners. B. Always use condoms during coitus. And C. Go to a qualified doctor in case abducted for early detection and get complete treatment if diagnosed. These are the preventive: uh, avoiding unknown partner and multiple partners, always use condoms during coitus, go to qualified doctor in case of dubs, and early detection will be very helpful in prevention of many of the bacterial infections. So this is the third concept, that what we call a sexually transmitted diseases under the reproductive health. Next is infertility. So what is infertility? Infertility is nothing but unable, like the couples which are unable to reproduce children in spite of unprotected sexual cohabitation are called infertile. So if a couple are sexually cohabitating for a longer time without unprotected, by using unprotected sexual practice, still unable to have a conceived pregnancy, then this is called as infertile. The reason for this could be many: physical, congenital diseases, drugs, immunological, or even psychological. The reasons for the what we have many physical, congenital diseases, drugs, immunological, or even psychological. The various reasons, the reasons wherein in case of this what we call as physical, congenital, and immunological and psychological will be different for in case of male and female. The primary infertility, it denotes the those patients who have never conceived. Secondary infertility indicates previous pregnancy but failure to conceive subsequently. Infertility in males is caused by the following: the cryptorchidism. It is a condition testes are unable to descend in a spousal sac so that the sperms are not produced. This condition, it leads to azoospermia. That is, the semen will be without the motile sperm cells. Alcoholism causes defective spermatogenesis. Thyroid dysfunction. Impotency. Male is unable to erect and penetrate the penis into the vagina of the female. Gonadotropin deficiency, LH and FSH deficiency. Use of anti-hypertensive and antipsychotic drugs for a long time. Immotile cilia, that is, this is one more. Sperms are unable to move from vagina to the upper portion of the genital tract of female. Y chromosome deletion. Then acquired infections like mumps, infections of seminal vesicle, prostate causes oligospermia. Options are blockage of vasa deferens and vasa afferentia. Most common variety of anti-sperm antibodies are IgG, IgM, IgA. IgG may be found in cervical mucus, serum, and semen that will cause the male infertility. And female infertility due to anovulation, that is, there is no corpus luteum formation, there is oligo-ovulation is taking place. Then luteal phase defect, what we call as LPD. Fimbria of the fallopian tube may not pick up the secondary oocyte for the ovary. Then dyspermiuria, that is painful sexual intercourse experienced by women. Phagocytosis, fertilization and implantation failure are some of the causes for the female infertility. Infertility can be assisted to have children through certain special techniques commonly called assisted reproductive technologies, which include as follows. So this ART, what we call as assisted reproductive technology, basically classified into three types: like test tube baby, artificial insemination technique, gamete intrafallopian transfer, intracytoplasmic sperm injection, or the four different methods were used in assisted reproductive technology. So first one is the test tube baby. It's the fusion of ovum and sperm is done outside the body of woman, that is in vitro we can say, to form a zygote which is allowed to divide to form an embryo. This embryo is then implanted into the uterus where it develops into fetus which in turn develops into child. This is called test tube baby. In this method, the ova from the wife or donor female and sperm from the husband or donor male are induced. The zygote in or early embryo is transferred into fallopian tube, then it is called a GIFT. The test tube baby is of two types, GIFT and IUT. GIFT nothing but zygote intrafallopian transfer. That is, the fertilized zygote, if it is present in an early stage where it is present in a fallopian tube naturally, it has to be placed into the fallopian tube. Then it is called a GIFT, zygote intrafallopian transfer. Embryos with the more than 8 blastomas, it is called IUT, that is intrauterine transfer into the uterus to complete further development. Next, what we have is GIFT. GIFT is called as gamete intrafallopian transfer. So this GIFT is performed when the individuals are unable to produce this, uh, the effect of fertilization is not. For gift technique, normal fallopian tubes are required. If the fallopian tube is blocked, the individuals are unable to undergoing fertilization. If everything is they are having normal, the site of fertilization is not taking place normally, then they will go for the gift. So what we call the either from the donor or from the mother and the parent, or either from the parent or from the donor, the sperm and ova will be collected. Both of these sperm and ova are directly transferred into the fallopian tube. The only transfer will takes place, that is transfer of gametes collected from the donor into the fallopian tube of the another female who do not produce ovum. So now what happens? The fertilization, implantation, and further development will take place normally. Only thing is gametes are directly transferred to the site of fertilization. That's why it is called as GIFT. Gamete intrafallopian transfer was first described by Ash in 1984. Uh, in this technique, both the sperm uh, fertilization will take place in vivo only, that is inside the body, only gametes are going to be transferred. Then next what we have is intracytoplasmic sperm injection. What is intracytoplasmic sperm injection? This is done when a person, the presence of the severe oligospermia, that is the number of sperm cells will be very less, obstruction of efferent duct system in male, that is vasa deferentia or epididymitis is affected, presence of sperm antibodies or congenital absence of both vasa efferentia. In these conditions, azoospermia, in such conditions, this intracytoplasmic sperm injection will be used. Sperm will be connected either to the parent or from the donor, and thoroughly they are washed. The active sperm cells are directly injected into the egg cell. So that's why it's called as intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So in this procedure also testicular sperm extraction will be done or microsurgical epididymal sperm aspiration is also will be done. ICSI is a very effective as compared to other micro manipulation techniques like subjonal insemination. ICSI is a very effective to reduce the need of aid. 60 to 70% is the fertilization rate in case of ICSI. Next is what we have studied in the test tube is GIFT we have studied and IUT we have studied, and now intracytoplasmic sperm injection we have done. Next is the AI, that is artificial insemination. This is a techniques where sperms collected either from the husband or from the healthy donor or artificially introduced either into the vagina or into the uterus of the female. It is done in infertility cases either due to inability of the male partner to copulate and the female or due to very low count, very low sperm count. In such conditions, of a low sperm count when it will be there, artificial insemination will be done. So this artificial insemination, infertility case in male, so artificially introduced into vagina or the uterus. All these techniques requires extremely highly precision handling by specialized professionals and expensive instruments. Therefore, their benefits are limited to certain countries and peoples. Emotional, religious, and social factors also prevent the adaptation of these methods. Some of the in some of the religions, the emotional, religious, and social people will not entertain this test tube baby. The first test tube baby is developed by Patrick Stiptoy and Dr. R. Robert Edwards, for which the Dr. Robert Edwards got 2010 Nobel Prize for developing the technique. India's first test tube baby was born in August 6, 1986 at KM Hospital, Mumbai. Her name is Kumari Harsha. It is done with credit goes to the Dr. Indra Hinduja. Some person claimed that the India's or Asia's first and the world only second test tube baby was born in Kolkata. Previously, her name was Durga. The man behind the pioneering effort was Dr. Subhash Mukherjee. So the skilled hands are very essential for the ART to be. ART is a technique to treat the infertility. What is ART? Assisted reproductive technology. Thank you, students.